today we're going to try to get our whole sentences down. So remember, I try to give you phrases that you can use every single time. So every day. So one of the phrases, you guys should know this one. If you were here last week and the week before last. So if I were to say ole ale aso, okay, so that's the thing that we did last time. Again, this is review. So if I say ole ale aso, what is today, this particular day? So if I were to say ole ale aso and I was asking you what day is it, is anybody, how would you reply to that? I'm looking at the comments. And olealeaso, olealeaso, oleaso. Somebody said one. Wait, what is the day in English right now? Oh yeah, okay, oleaso lua. That's the day. So oleaso lua, Tuesday. I was about to say today was I forget, but yeah, oleaso lua. It's today is Tuesday. Okay, I completely forgot. So, and just remember when we identify stuff. So we did this in week number 1. When we identify things, we just say ole ipu, ole ole fanguvai. This bottle of water. I don't know if I could. Yeah, you can see it. So we identify. It's the same thing with the days. Ole aso, so day, and then Monday ngafua. Ole aso lua, ole aso lulu, ole aso tofi, ole aso falele, oleaso tonai, oleaso sa. Okay, I'm going kind of fast because this is review. Again, if you need to like look at it, just check the video from last week, which is Thursday. All right. So the next slide. All right, let's do a little quiz. This is a quiz. So I wake up and I say ole aleaso, and not oleaso lua because we already did Tuesday, right? So if I were to say ole aleaso, and I'm pointing that right there, I don't know if you can see my mouse. So ole aleaso. Yep, oleaso falele. Yep, oleaso falele. Yep. Awesome. Olealeaso. This is an exercise you can do every day. Do it with your kids, do it with your spouse, do it with your boyfriend, your girlfriend. Oleaso sa. Yep, oleaso sa. Yep. And it should oleaso sa. Yep. Awesome. Great, great. Ole olealeaso. Olealeaso. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So I didn't, you know what? The reason why I didn't put the layer because I didn't feel like explaining it because it was gonna like take us over that one day. So since I didn't explain the layer means like this. What is this? So when you put it all together, it's like what is this day? Or you could also say oleale neaso. There's a few different ways you could say it, but I just put it just like that. So oleale aso. So oh right, this one right here. Oleale asunge. Yeah, there's a few different ways. Yeah, there's several different ways you could do it. Asungafua. Again, right. Yep. Asungafua. Again, like I'm making it basic because a lot of people they don't know any Samoan. So when we're doing it, some of you guys are more advanced, so it's like I just want to get them the basics. Once they get that, yeah, then they can go. Just go to tylerfortalk.com. I literally have hundreds of videos. I've been making videos for 5 years. Just go there, and then there's the videos break all it down. Oleasunge, oleneyaso, oleasolea, you all kind of all of that. But right now we're just real basic. We're real basic. So olealeasolea. I'm sorry, olealeaso. This one right there. Ole, yep, oleasolulu if I was pointing there, but oleasotofi. Yep, oleasotofi. Okay, I think you guys got this exercise. All right. So just make sure you ask your partner, whoever you're talking to, and olealeaso. What day? What is the day? What is today? And again, like I said, there's several different ways to say it. Oleaso tofi. Yep, oleaso tofi. All right, the next one. Now, if we looked at this thing right here, and I said that this thing right here, olemelea, or olemelea, this thing right here. This is the word of the day. So if I were to say, what is this thing? What is the word for this thing right here? I mean, uh, see, when I go back and forth from English to Samoan, I throw myself off. What is the word for this thing right here? What is the name for this thing in English right here? There we go. Tusi, yeah, tusi. So oleale upu oleaso. So I'm sorry, I'm gonna say it slow. Olea le upu oleaso. So what the word of the day? Olea, leupu, oleaso. So the word of the day is tusi. Tusi means book. Okay. So remember, this is again every single day. You got your definitions, right? So you take your definitions and just ask your kids, ask your spouse, ask whoever it is you're talking to, and just say, what is the word of the day? Oleale upo oleaso. Okay. And then just pick a word and just say, okay. So I look at this thing and I say, tusi. Okay. So oleale upo, olea le upu oleaso. Ole upu, ole neaso, or ole upu, oleaso, or tusi. Let me go to the next one. Okay, here we go. Ole upu, oleaso, o tusi. The word of the day is tusi. Okay, this is the exercise where it's like a call and response. Go back and forth. You need help. Like use your partner. That's how you're gonna go. Be able to do these conversations. Olea, what? The meaning. Uwinga, uwinga. Oleale winga o tusi. Oleale winga o tusi. Okay. So what is the meaning? What the meaning of tusi? Okay. What is the meaning of tusi? Olonga winga o book. Olonga winga o book. Yep. So we're just going back and forth. Like I said, this is a review. We're going back and forth. Make sure you have hopefully you have someone to practice with. If not, message somebody in here. There might be somebody in the chat that like wish they could have somebody to go back and forth with. You guys can text it if you don't want to talk to the people. You want to keep it like virtual or whatever, or like exchange numbers, whatever you want to do. But or talk to your spouse, your kids, your parents, whoever, whatever. All right. So then we also review when we identify things, right? So if we identify fale aunga, okay, we know that is a house of learning or a house of where you learn stuff at. So that is a school of fale aunga, ole fale aunga. So that is the school. It is the school. The O, this is the subject tense marker. So this is what we start talking about on Thursday. So some people might, we don't really do this in English, so this might throw people off. But it's a tense marker. What the tense marker is saying is presently, what this thing is, what I'm looking at, is a fale aonga. Or it's I'm sorry, it is a school. Ole fale aonga. It is the school. Fale aonga. Fale aonga. All right. Same with this. It is the Teine Atamai or Letene Atamai. It is the smart girl. It is the wise girl. It is smart, wise is what Atamai is. Teine is girl. Or Letene Atamai. Okay. And then Va'a is, what is a Va'a? What is a Va'a? It's a boat. Yep. Yeah, Poto is smart, wise, yeah, intelligent. It's yeah. Va'a is boat. Okay, so it is the boat. So uh, the whole point of this is the O is a tense marker. It's saying presently it is this, it is that. So when you identify stuff, ole ipu, okay, ole Fanguvai. I don't have many things up in front of me. So we just identify it. That O is saying presently it is this thing, whatever it is you're talking about. It is the faleaonga, ole teine atamai, ole va'a. Okay. So then what we did, so this one right here is just a subject. It's just a subject. Then what we did, we gave an action to the subject. So in this case, we said if we just look at tatala, that's the action, right? Le faitotoa is the door. Le faitotoa is the door. But now we're giving the action to the door. So we're saying open the door, and it's a command. So technically, in front of this, there's a tense marker. Okay, so and same with this one, tapuni le fa'malama, kapungi le fa'malama. Close the window. Close the window. Okay, so this already has a tense marker. Remember back here, the O was a tense marker for the subject. But since this already has a tense marker, we're talking about the action, then we don't have to say tatala ole fai totoa. We don't have to say tapuni ole fa malama. This already has a tense marker. So I probably should have used one of these as a tense marker, but let's look at this statement right here. We have le pepe, right? If we were just saying the baby, what would we say in Samoan? How would we say that? Right. We would just say, okay, we would just say ole pepe, right? Ole pepe. So it is the baby. But we don't have to say, oh, I'm sorry. On this sentence right here, we're saying moi. Don't worry about the ua right now. Moi le pepe. Moi le pepe. Moi is to sleep. So we just gave an action to the baby. The baby is now sleeping. So the baby, le pepe. So moi le pepe. We're not gonna say moi or le pepe. We don't have to say the O because now we have this is a tense marker. And remember in the last class Thursday we talked about a whole new set of tense markers. So when the action has a tense marker, in this case we have ua, we can drop the O. We don't have to use the noun tense marker. So ua moi le pepe. Ua moi le pepe. So the baby is now sleeping. So ua is a tense marker that just says, it indicates a change in the situation. Okay, so when you left, or I'm sorry, when you were here, you were holding the baby, you were, talking to the baby or whatever. But now the baby is asleep. The baby is sleeping. The baby is asleep. That's the change in the situation. So ua moi. So the baby is now asleep. I spent more time than I wanted to on that. But here's the different the tense markers. And Thursday we're gonna talk more about these, so I won't spend too much time on this. But here's the past tense marker. So if you hear nga moi le pepe, na moi le pepe, the baby slept. Sa moi le pepe, the baby was sleeping. So it's both of those are past tense, but if you listen to it, they're a little bit different. And then we have if we say e moi le pepe, all of these are present tense. These are all present tense. The one that we just finished talking about is ua moi le pepe. Ua moi le pepe. Sorry, it's kind of hard for me to say slow with my jaw. So we're updating. I'm updating the listener on what's happening. When you were here, you were holding the baby or whatever. The baby was laughing and whatever. Now the baby is asleep. Ua moi le pepe. Olo'o is the baby is sleeping. The baby is asleep. This is what the baby is doing right now, presently. And then ole'a. This would actually have the fatma mafa over the a, or the emphasize over the a. Okay, future tense. The baby will sleep. Okay, we'll talk about that another time. I don't want to take up too much time. And then there's the worksheet. I don't have that pulled up over here. Titlefortalk.com. Just go to and look for the worksheet for this week. I'm sorry. It was the last week. So and it says something like tense marker worksheet, and then it's a couple worksheets that you can download. All right. So then this is also a review. We had the tense marker e. So and the remember is present tense, but it's a habitual constant state. So I walk to the store. So I walk to the store. He sleeps. She talks. She walks. Whatever. It's a habitual thing that you do. Constant state. Okay. And then look how we break this down. That's our tense marker, right? So that's a present habitual thing that the subject is doing, right? Iai means to have or to possess, and then we went to lao. Lao means your specific thing. I'll break this down in a minute. We talked about it last week, so maybe I should go a little bit faster. Lao uati, iai lao wati. So do you have your watch? You got your watch, your specific watch. So they know the watch that I'm talking. I don't have my watch here, but if the person asking they know the watch that I'm talking about, or that they're talking about, and I know the watch. So they're talking about a specific watch. All right. Now here's the difference between when we say like lao and sao. It's the same thing. We can break it down with like the difference between le and se. So if somebody say oletusi, okay, so this is back to week number 1. If we say oletusi, right, that's a singular specific tusi. Tusi is, we just talked about this. It means book, right? Uh, it means book. I'll come back to the question. Sorry, I'm looking at the slides over here. I'll try to come back to those. So oletusi, so a singular specific book. But if somebody say osetusi, osetusi, so that means a book, a book. So you see how it's a slight difference. Well, actually, it's a big difference for real. But this slight change right here between le and se, that's a specific thing. That's a non-specific thing, because if we bring it down here, if I say o lao tusi, o lao tusi. So again, lao is gonna mean your. If I say o lao tusi, then I'm saying it is presently your book. It is presently your book. Your book. That's another way in translation. But if I were to say like a book of yours, so this is it's still your book, but it's like a book of yours. Maybe you got 30 books. I just want one of your books. Just, do you have one book? So if I were to ask you, "Hey, I saw to see," like, do you have a book? Do you have a book? But the implication, or it's implied. Sorry, kids. Um, a book of yours, one of your books. I just want one of your books. So I would ask you, "Hey, I saw to see." I saw to see. Down here, I'm asking for a watch of yours. So I saw watch. It just, I don't know. I know you have a collection of watches. I just want one. And the reason why I want to teach you guys this is because when people ask you for stuff, you ask them first. When you see somebody asking you for something real quick, you need to ask them so they don't ask you for stuff. So you just automatically let them. Oh, you know, that's just one of my techniques. I get approached with that all the time. So ei, man, we're still on review, and it's okay. I'm gonna move a little bit faster. Ei means to have or possess. So again, this is something that you can go back and forth with your partner about. Ei, and then you say sawati, okay? Sao ta'vale. Felicia did this on Friday, right? Ei sao ta'vale. Ei sao. I'm sorry. Ei sao ta'vale. Ta'vale. Do you have a car? Or, well, she said, "Can I borrow your car?" We're on AEI. So, do you have a car of yours? Do you have a watch of yours? Ei sao wati. Do you have a car of yours? Ei sao ta'vale. Okay. Do you have a question of yours? Ei sao facili. Ei sao facili. Do you have a response or an answer? Ei sao tali. Okay. Ei sao kelfongi. Do you have a phone? Okay. These are people wanting to ask you for stuff. So before they ask you, you need to ask them. So then they'll leave you alone. So that's why I wanted you guys to know that. So, and then the slang. I actually just learned this last year. I would say it, but I didn't know like how to break it down. So when people say like "ai se ta tupe," okay. Now remember, we can say T as a K style, right? We can say "ai se ka kupe," but when you slur it together, people will say like "ai se ka kupe," and then they'll break it down even more and just say "ska kupe." Like, and so they're saying the ta, when you say ta before tupe, and this is probably a little bit too much right now, we're saying our money. Like, you're asking me for my money, but you're saying our money. You're already framing it like it's our money. It's not our money. So, but anyway, if somebody says skakupe, something like that, then they're asking you for like seta, seta. Um, if anybody got something different from that, but that's really how that's how somebody broke it down to me. I was like, "Oh wow." So it said ta like that. Okay, but that's the slang way of doing it. All right, so let's go back and forth with the e I. So if someone say e I sawati, then you could say eleai sa'u. The reason why it's sa'u, because remember, la'u is what? La'u is my watch. So no, leai is no. So leai sa'wati. I don't have that watch. Or you can just say no, leai. So somebody say eai sa'wati, leai, leai, eai sa'fasili. Do you have a question of yours? Leai. Or you could say eleai sao. I'm sorry, sa'u. Leai sa'ofisili. I don't have a question of mine. I don't have a question. Eai sautali. Do you have the answer? Do you have an answer of yours? Eleai sautali. I don't have it. I don't have an answer. Okay. Or you can just break it down and just say leai, leai, no, or ioi, yes. All right. All right. So let me move a little bit faster because te. Oh, so the te tense marker is the same as the e. Okay. People say these kind of phrases all the time. This is something that you could use every single day. So um these slides will be up there, but I'm gonna focus on ote is I presently. This is what I do, this is how I feel. Okay. Ote and ete. You. Okay. Ote ete. Ote ete. All right. Then we have nate, tate, luate, matote, all of these. All right. Again, that's on titlefortalk.com. I break it all the way down. There's videos that go like 30 minutes long. But these are phrases that you can use every single day. Okay. So for example, if you say fia ai, right? So that's just one, you want to eat, right? Or hungry. But if I say ote, I presently, want to eat fia ai. O, ote, fia ai. I want to eat. I'm hungry. Or if you're talking to somebody else, you're talking about you. I'm saying you. So ete fia ai. You want to eat? Again, there's other ways to say this. I'm doing it as simple as possible because I want y'all to start talking today. Okay. I already, yeah, I want y'all to start talking today. So ote fia ai. So that's like a statement. But if you ask somebody else, ete fia ai. You want to eat? Right? Are you hungry? Ta'alo. Ta'alo is what? To play. So ote fia ta'alo. I want to play. I've been riding the bench all day. All right. Or maybe the coach come up to you and say, ete fia ta'alo. You want play? You want to play? You want to play? Ote fia alu. Ote fia alu. I want to go. I want to go. And if you ask somebody else, you can say, ete fia alu. You want to go? Okay. I want drink. So I'm thirsty. Ote fia ingu. You can, but if you ask somebody else, you're directing your conversation to them. So you're asking them a question. Ete fia ingu. Ete fia ingu. Are you thirsty? You want to drink? Okay. A few different ways you can translate it. All right. Ote fia moi. Ote fia moi. Moi is to sleep. So the whole thing with all of this is the ote fia. So if you got that, I want to. If the ete fia moi, right? If you get that part down, then you just put your verb in. So that's your verb. Fia, after fia is gonna be a verb, or action, right? So ote fia moi. I'm sorry. I'm asking like a question. Ote fia moi. I wanna eat. I'm sorry. I want to sleep. Ote fia moi. I want to sleep. Do you want to sleep? Ete fia moi. You want to sleep? Are you sleepy? Okay. Ote fia siva. I want to dance. Siva is to dance. I want to dance. Do you want to dance? Ete fia siva. Do you want to dance? So if you're at a party, some of you high school kids, if you're on here, if I don't know if you guys are doing that kind of stuff anymore, but if you are, and you see a Samoan girl or somebody who understands Samoan, then you walk up to them, you just say, "Ete fia siva. You want to dance?" And that's a wrap. You're gonna get married after that. So ote fieva I, like I want to see, okay. And then, or if you're asking them, ete fieva I, do you want to see? do you want to see? So this row right, this column right here is I. This is column is a you. This column is you. Sorry. All right. So again, you can practice these as exercises. And ete fia I. Ete fia I. You want a hungry? Yeah, you want to eat? You want to eat? So yoi, I presently want eat. I presently want to eat. So I'm just explaining like word for word, but that's what it translates to. Are you hungry? Ete fia I. Yes. Yoi, I want to eat. I'm hungry. Ete fia siva. Do you wanna dance? Leai. No, I don't like the way you look. I don't. So the le. Okay, let's talk about the le just for a second. Le, not le. Like this has a fatma mafa over it. So that means like we're gonna stress the e. Um, ote le. So the le when it comes before the action. So in this case the action is fia. Fia is to want to dance, right? So want, fia, and then siva is to dance. So ote le fia siva. So if anytime you put a le in front of the action, that means you don't want to do the action. So in this case, leai, hey, ote le fia siva. I don't want to dance. I don't want to do the dance. Okay. Ete fia moi. Do you want to sleep? Yoi. Yep. Yoi. Ote fia moi. I want to sleep. Okay. So just all you gotta do, you can use these same like a template right here. Ete fia, ote fia, or leai, ote le fia. And then you just put your action right there. All right. But you gotta practice. You have to practice if you want to get good with this. Okay. So practice with your partner. Okay. Oh man. Okay. I'm gonna go a little bit over. So Samoan locations. When we say things where things are in Samoan, we're just gonna do the common nouns. All right. So the common nouns are introduced with it's a fancy word in English. It's called preposition, right? So you might remember it from grade school or whatever. But in Samoan, we introduce common things with e. So if I were to say something like this, and we already talked about ua wa moile pepe, right? Ua moile pepe, wa moile pepe, and then where. So in this case, we're saying the baby le pepe is sleeping or has slept or is now asleep. Where? Fair. I le moenga. So where's the baby sleeping now? In or at the bed. I le moenga. Ua moile pepe i le moenga. I'm sorry. Ua moe le pepe I le moenga. The baby is now sleeping in the bed. Okay, the baby is now sleeping in the bed. So the preposition, this fancy word up here, this in Samoan it starts with the e at the bed, in the bed. There's different ways you can translate it. Okay, if I tell you I love you, or if I say I love that girl over there. So if I say ote, I love. So we just talked about ote, right? Like so, I presently. This is how I feel every single day. This is ote, and then alofa, ote alofa. I love, and then I send my love. Where? To the girl. I le teine. Ote alofa I le teine. I'm sorry. Ote alofa I to the girl. I'm sending my love to the girl. So you see how the action, my action, is gonna be sent to the girl. I le teine. Same with this one right here. So we have someone named Kelisa. Kelisa. So Kelisa, Kelisa Ealu. Kelisa goes where? Where she goes? Where does she go? I le fale. Ealu Kelisa I le fale. Uh, Ealu Kelisa I le fale. So Kelisa goes to the house. Maybe she goes every Tuesday, every Wednesday, whatever. But this is what she does habitually. That's why we have the on that. All right. So now let's learn these real fast. Sorry, I'm keeping you guys a little bit over. So and you probably heard these. So ilunga o, ilunga o is gonna be on top. So just memorize this. You can write it down or go download it after I upload these slides to talofotalk.com. So ilunga o means up, on top of, or above. Ilalo o is gonna be, so we're starting our preposition. Remember that fancy word e, right? Lunga is above, and then this is gonna just start our subject on top of what? Ole fale. So for all of these, we'll just say fale because most people know fale is gonna be house, right? Ilunga ole fale, on top of the house. Ilalo ole fale, below the house, right? If I say ifafo ole fale, outside of the house, okay? Itotonu, itotonu ole fale, inside of the house. Okay, if I say itua olefale, itua olefale, behind or in back of the house. If I say iluma, iluma olefale, in front of the house. Okay, so ilunga o, ilalo o, ifafo o, itutonu o, itua o, iluma o. All right. So remember this word right here, ofea. Ofea, it just means where. A lot of times people are gonna abbreviate it to fair. So sometimes that when people just say fair, sometimes it can mean fair, and that's going to be when. That's like, when is this going to happen or whatever. So you kind of need to know the context, all right? But if they're asking where something is at, it's going to be au fair. Au fair. Sometimes it might be spelled like this over here, or it's going to be a space. You might see a O and then the fair. People spell it different. I don't technically, for real, I don't know which one is the right one or whatever. So if somebody say ofele penny, right? It could be, it's where, we're going to answer that actually right now. So in this case, I'm going to look over here. Ofele penny. Ofele penny. So using our vocabulary that we just learned, I know you just learned it. So how would we say? So the pen is right here, and you can call this a kesi. You can call it a lao lao. Okay. Yep. Ilalo o le lao lao o ilalo o le lao lao. Yeah. So it's gonna be below the desk. Or well, you said lao lao, so below the table. It's below the table. Okay, so the pen is below the table. All right, or lalo. So yeah, technically it's gonna be ilalo ole lao lao. Ilalo ole lao lao. I probably should have made another slide because it's below the desk. Below the desk. Okay, ilalo o le lao lao, or le kesi, if you want to say it like that. All right. So if I were to say ofele ta'avale, ta'avale is what? Ta'avale is a car. So ofele ka'avale. Yep, exactly. Yep. Ifafo, yep. Ifafo ole uh fale aonga. I didn't say where they're at right now. I'm just assume it's going to be the school, right? They're outside. Ifafo o, yep. Ifafo ole we'll just say fale aonga. Ifafo. Ifafo means outside. So the car is outside. Ofele le camalea. Where's this boy? Where is this boy at in relation to the desk? In relation to the desk. So we have the desk right here. Ofele tama. Ofele tama. Ilunga. So if we well, he's not, iluma. Because iluma with the M, iluma ole lao lao is in front of the desk. So the boy is in front of the desk. Iluma ole lao lao. So if someone say, ofele tama. Iluma ole lao lao. Okay, iluma ole kesi. All right. So ofele fayaonga. The fayaonga is a teacher. So ofele fayaonga, based on the words that we know. So ole fayaonga lea. Lunga means up, means above or up. Okay. Itua. Yep. So ole whaiaonga well, I'm sorry. Um Itua. So so if I say ofele whaiaonga, Itua ole lau lau. So behind the desk, behind the table, lau lau. If I say Itua ole kesi, that's gonna be behind the desk. Okay. So we did below, we did outside. Ofele ofele computer. Ofele computer. So where is this thing right here? In relation to the lau lau. Man, it's hard for me to go back and forth. Ilunga, yep, ilunga ole lau lau. On top of the desk. Okay. So I hope you guys see that. So like we're we're we're, we're just talking in terms of where things are, okay, in terms of relation to something. So ilunga ole computer, ilunga ole kesi, ilunga ole lau lau, okay, ole whaiaonga, I tua ole lau lau, I tua ole kesi, um, ole kamalea, ole tamalea, I luma, in front of, okay, in front of the desk, lekesi, I luma or lekesi, okay. So, um, yeah, I'm kind of way over time. Let me see what the next one is. Okay, so this is where we're gonna start at next. So, like when you we talked about common nouns in front of this, in front of that, but now we're gonna talk about, not now, but on Thursday we'll pick up here. Ya te oi, ote, I love to you. So ote alofa ya te oi. So there's e that we're talking about common nouns, but if I talk about like pronouns, and then there's other things too. If I'm talking, if I say ote alofa ya te oi, ote alofa with I love to you, ya te oi. So that's a different kind of preposition. Okay. So we'll start with that, and then after that, we got some other things. But thank y'all for tuning in. If you have any questions, I didn't realize I went this far over. Just send me an email. I'll talk to you directly. Tomorrow. So Faftai Lava, Alofa Aku Ya Otouma. I think that's it. Faftai Fua.